Has anyone cut out gluten and noticed any difference?
You know, I love how these people ask, has anyone? You know, there are millions of people going gluten-free to the point where it's being ridiculed by others. And yet, here we are. So to explain this gluten problem, in Italy, the wheat is still grown to the old standard, the Roman standard, which means that the wheat is 4 foot tall. It's the durum wheat. It's not herbicided, not pesticided, and not fertilized. It's just grown old-fashioned way. And it has about 6% of protein, most of which is gluten. In America, they very proudly, in the 70s, hybridized this thing called dwarf wheat, which is only 18 inches tall. The advantage to that is that it doesn't fall as much as the tall wheat. So it's easier to harvest. They also forced it to be 12 to 13% protein, and they're so proud of it. And that started creating problems, but they really put a cherry on top of this trouble in about 1996 when they started using glyphosate, Roundup.
Right.
Now, they use it in an unusual way. They actually spray the field just before harvest to intentionally kill the plant. And in the process of dying, the plant forces all of its remaining energy into the progeny, into the grain. And also, as it dries uniformly, the entire field is dry, so it gives them drier, richer yield all at once. And they can do that just before the winter storms or autumn storms. So especially in the northern latitudes, prairies, where weather is not so great, they get to put the wheat into the silo and it's drier. So anyway, all these advantages. The disadvantage is that it makes many people sick.
Right.
Scott, do you have a fly flying around you?
Whenever I watch the videos of us, I'm in a small corner in here and no one can see. But
I have you half and half.
I have it. Yeah, that's the way I have it too. This is a tennis racket that has batteries and it zaps mosquitoes. So we have mosquitoes around. So if you ever hear like this zap, I just got one.
It's just good. That's an awesome tool. Yeah, I have one of those here too. Don't need it much, but we have it.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot. There's a few. So I thought I'll just, when we're doing that, I'll do that. So Martin, is it the problem with too much gluten, or is it too much the poison, the glyphosate, which is a form of?
Well, it's both. Yeah, it's both. It's a stack of two problems, right? The glyphosate is killing the microbiome within your gut, which is very likely to cause autoimmune type of problems. Fibromyalgia is one of those. And then the other one is that the gluten releases something called zonulin, and the zonulin causes the previously tight junctions in the gut to separate and allow things that would normally stay outside of your inner terrain in your bloodstream. Once you pull the gap apart, those things get in, and they shouldn't. And so all of a sudden leaky gut. All of a sudden your immune system is encountering things that should have stayed on the outside of the barrier, and they don't. They're on the inside.
Okay, so that brings up a really good issue. How do we the average person in North America has abused their gut. They've eaten Kit Kats and Coca-Cola, and they've had antibiotics, and they eat this high gluten, high glyphosate bread all the time, too much sugar, and on and on and on she goes. So, all right, I agree with you. My gut is a mess. What would be a regimen for me to improve my gut?
Right. So this gluten problem business, has anybody gotten off of gluten and started feeling better?
Yes.
Yes, many. But listen, it needs to be complete. Okay, the complete means this. There's gluten in ketchup, mustard, there's wheat, traces of wheat in weirdest things. I asked my in a Japanese restaurant, I asked, are your sushi gluten-free? No, they're not. We're using wheat to make it sticky.
Right. That's what wheat does.
Yeah. Glue and gluten come from the same word.
Right. Well, flour, plaster, I remember, making animals out of newspapers and flour and water. We would just
papier-mâché.
Yeah, papier-mâché, exactly. So
that's exactly right.
To zero, or do you have to go we're at like 101 now, we got to go down to 10. Like, is it?
Yeah, the problem with with wheat sensitivity is once you're sensitized, it's an immune problem. It's sort of like being immune to chicken pox. Now you have this trigger for gluten, and that's it. That's it. Once you get triggered, you're not going to do fine ever. And so anyway,
an adjustment from it's going to take me 10 minutes to make dinner to it's going to take an hour and a half to 2 hours to make dinner. And that's just the way life is.
No, I don't know that you just need to be making things from scratch, knowing what you're doing, or buying it from vendors who promise and guarantee that they are absolutely gluten aware. Like, and you need to do a minimum of, there's some delay that, anyway. Okay, go ahead, talk.
I was just going to say there are people that I know that they spend all day Sunday making all their meals for the rest of the week, some of which they freeze, some of it they just put in the fridge. And then Tuesday comes along, they pull out Tuesday's dinner, heat it up, and they eat it, and they're fine, right? So it's a matter of how much effort you want to put into your eating. And I mean, see what happens when you put no effort into your eating. People are sick and miserable and fat and tired.
Yeah. What I was trying to say is that there's a delay. It takes about 10 days at least, possibly more, depending on how effective your immune system is, for the gluten echo to just disappear. So if you're living gluten-free, but once a week on Friday night you have yourself a pizza, you're actually never free. You're always in it.
Right.
So you've never had a day when you are actually clear. You need to go on a minimum of 3 months off and then see. Now, some people are worse than just gluten. Some people are sensitive not to just wheat, but also barley and corn. And rice is the least common problem, but some people need to go off rice as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so you started asking a different question, right? That was.
Yeah, it was okay. So I got to stop eating stuff that has gluten in it. Okay. How do I repair so just not eating gluten is not going to repair my leaky gut. It might stop getting worse or slow down it getting worse. But if I want to repair it, I need to, I mean, if you.
Visualize this. The villi in the small intestine are finger-like protrusions that are sticking up from the surface. So if they're worn off, it's going to create a problem.
Right.
And then if there's this stuff that separates them, that causes these glutens to get through, that also is a problem. So you need to stop. It's sort of like gunfire, right? Like you need to stop going out in gunfire. Otherwise, you'll be getting bullet holes. Now we need to actually support the terrain. The microbes that are living within are dependent on decent inputs. So we have probiotics, those are the microbes. We have prebiotics, which is what they eat, and postbiotics, which is what they make. So sometimes you may want to have all three. But before you get even there, you want to build the resilience of the mucosal barrier. And that is done with the help of iodine. Iodine is the one supplement that supports the strength of the barrier, the stuff that protects the fragile inside from the hostile outside. So enough iodine, and then some kind of a terrain that you have in the gut that needs to be there. Humic acid is awesome for that. That's where the microbes thrive. So now you may need to repopulate the garden. That's called the probiotics. So that would be the microbes of every sort. And then you need to feed the microbes. The prebiotics are things like inulin, comes from chicory, dahlia, or agave. What else should we put in there? Various oligosaccharides, right? These are complex sugars, not as long as fiber, but, well, they're just in between. And then if you have a real challenge, you may need some postbiotics. And that's like butyric acid is one of the most important ones. So we have, of course, supplements for all of this. So you could take a hydrochloric acid supplement to strengthen the digestive system, the stomach. You can take the fiber. You can take a digestive enzyme to improve on it. And you can take the postbiotic, like tributyrin is the name of a product that's really good at helping to span the deficits that you may be experiencing. Right? Like it's like a crutch. You take it for a period of time until you repair.
What about Strataflora?
Yeah, what about that, right? Strataflora has probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics, antiparasitics, herbal stuff that helps the enzymes. It's something to help the liver, something to help the pancreas. So here you have all in one. The only thing you add to that, I would say, is the humic acid. Yep. Awesome product. Well constructed. Looks after so many issues.
I had a follow-up question, and then it just disappeared.
Oh, how to heal the gut? Need good water. Need good fiber. Need
Strataflora.
Yeah, don't drink chlorinated water. Don't take antibiotics. Don't take chemical drugs. If you're on gabapentin and Lyrica and God knows what else, you're just killing off your healthy microbes all the time.
Oh, so, okay. I think it's actually kind of funny because the next question I was going to ask was from KP. Someone mentioned in another group that fibromyalgia was caused by leaky gut. Has anyone seen improvements in their pain by taking probiotics? So once again, I think this is like the wrong question. Is if I have a bad digestive system, will I be better if I fix it? Yes. And if your bad digestive system shows outward signs of pain and aching and inflammation, then all of those things should drop if it's from there.
Here's an interesting point. The more leaky your gut is, the more allergic you'll be to more things. Some people are so dysfunctional, they seem to be allergic to water. It's like almost anything you put in your body makes you feel worse. They feel best when they eat nothing. And then there are some people whose microbiome is so messed up that they do best by eating nothing but meat, like beef and lamb, nothing else. Like there are folks who live like that. And it's mainly because their microbiome is messed up. And so it's better you see, microbiome is not fed by meat, it's fed by fiber. And so if you feed it absolutely nothing, it goes dormant. So it stops making noise or anything. It's just not there. Well, it works for some people, but it's a budget problem for many to be living on steak.
So you don't recommend the carnivore diet?
Oh, I'm not recommending it. It's fine. It's unaffordable.
Well, but you just said there's no fiber, so
therefore nobody's feeding the microbiome. So the entire microbiome has gone dormant. It's just gone to sleep.
So how do you digest your food if your microbiome is a desert?
You need enzymes.
And they come from the meat.
Yes, they do. Yeah. And then, of course, you can take digestive enzymes. Protease, right? Protein digestive enzyme. You can supplement that. Bromelain from pineapple is one of the most digestive things available.
But if you're a hardcore carnivore diet person, you're not going to take any of that stuff. You're just going to say, hey, I'm eating my meat and
I think it's going to work. It'll be fine.
So they're not going to have a problem with their digestive system in 20 years?
I don't think so. No, I think they'll be fine. Yeah, for some people with fibromyalgia, it may be a very unusual Hail Mary kind of a attempt or experiment. Just go on nothing but beef.
Let me throw this at you. I have fibromyalgia. I'm in pain. Money is no problem. I know that's unusual for someone with fibromyalgia. And I can eat all the steaks and ribeyes that I want. How long if it was like, how long should I give it before I decide that's not the answer?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. Well, that's something that's very workable, right? You plan out all your meals and you read labels, right? Like, oh, I like this spice, and you read the label and it's full of wheat.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of that.
You know, like where I am now, I look in the kitchen, there's all these spices, and there's like cumin and salt and pepper, and then there is like Cajun spice. And you just think, I wonder what's in that.
Right.
I'm confident that pepper is pepper and nothing else, but the Cajuns, you know, all these fancier spices, it's like, how, you know, to make it taste good, and we know that. I think one of the rules is if it tastes good, it's probably not good for you.
I don't know. But there probably is some MSG in it, which some people just cannot handle.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of them. I can be the food tester for MSG. The moment it's in my body, I get a headache.
Wow.